Hello, everybody. I am excited to talk to you today about running biomechanics and the skills, form, and drills that are involved in this particular aspect of running. Okay, so let's first talk about the benefits of proper biomechanics. Really, the first and foremost one is to be able to run faster and more economical. Obviously, proper biomechanics creates efficiency in how you move through space, which allows you to be able to be more economical, which then in turn allows you to be able to run faster and use less energy. Allows you to also be able to perform a greater amount of work more effectively and safely. Really, safely means without injury, and recover from run training more rapidly. And those last two bullet points really speak to the fact that um, with good proper biomechanics, not only do you use less energy, but there's less impact on your body from all the forces from running. And that really allows you to be able to handle more workload and reduce the number of injuries and just be able to have better recovery. Okay. And really, having proper biomechanics also supports the skills of running. And these are listed here: strength, endurance, power, coordination, balance, agility, and mobility. And today's talk is really going to focus on coordination and balance. But having good biomechanics really supports all of these. And you'll see what I mean by the coordination and balance as we go through the discussion today. So, in the discussion today, I'm going to talk about the types of drills that you can do, but that's going to be supported by how your mechanics are both upper body and lower body. So you'll see that as the presentation proceeds. Okay, let's start with upper body mechanics. The first and foremost element of upper body mechanics is really to run tall with a good neutral posture. And that really means that you're allowing the structure of the body, bones, muscles, ligaments, joints, all of that in combination to be able to support your running posture. Versus if you were to be leaning forward or have hunched shoulders, those types of things, then you're having to utilize other parts of the body, extra muscle, extra mechanics, bone structure, that kind of thing, in order to support that running form, and which uses more energy, and you have to adapt to that. So really running tall, neutral posture is important, and being able to run relaxed. So when you run relaxed, that really supports the ability to run tall with a good neutral posture. And running relaxed really focuses on three areas: the hands, the face, and the shoulders. The hands should not be clenched. I talk about the potato chip chest test, which really is the idea of sticking a potato chip between your thumb and forefinger. And if that doesn't break while you're running, that just means that your hands are nice and relaxed. And you can see in this picture here to the right, these are the three medalists in the 2000 Olympic Games. And you can see how relaxed they look, in particular the Kipchoge and Rupp. Nice relaxed hands, nice relaxed face, jaw and cheeks aren't relaxed, not clenching anywhere. Shoulders are nice and relaxed, drawn down, um, not necessarily held upwards. Usually, when you see a person who's not relaxed looking during the running, one that's definitely certainly related to fatigue, but it also may be something that is related to how they are running. And if you run more relaxed, then it's easier to maintain a good neutral and tall posture. Okay, other elements of the upper body have to do with your eyes looking forward and your chin parallel to the ground. And these two bullet points really go to the point of being able to maintain that tall, neutral posture. Because the minute you start looking down at the ground more directly in front of you, That means your chin is not going to be parallel to the ground, and that just means that you're not able to maintain that neutral posture, and you're having to utilize other muscles in the body to maintain that form that you're carrying, which utilizes extra energy and not allow you to run faster and more efficiently over the course of the run. In terms of the arm swing itself, usually around 90 degrees is best, but within a 10 or 15 degree variance, you'll even see world-class runners, marathon runners, have a very small degree of arm bend, where they're literally their hands are up around their chest or neck level. But in general, try to shoot for 90 degrees. That seems to be the most relaxed and economical for most people. Okay. In addition, arm travel should be close to the body, shouldn't cross over the midline of the body. You can see this individual here. If I were to draw a line segment through the midline of her body, arms are crossing over. I use a straw test to kind of determine how that looks. Besides a midline test, your hands really shouldn't, besides not crossing over the midline, should never come closer than a straw length between your two hands. And the reason you don't want that to happen is because you're using a lot of energy in order to counteract that forces of you going across your body. And again, just less economical. So make sure that your hands travel back and forth past your hip. And you can see that back in this picture here, her hands are traveling just past her hip right there. And the reason you do that, again, is to allow the arm swing to help dictate how the legs move. There's an old adage in running that where the arms go, the legs will follow. So if you have a nice, good arm swing, then typically that will help your running gait. And to help determine if your hands are going past your hip, is think of your hips as having drums on them, and if your hands are coming down and being able to tap on the drums, then you know your arm movement backwards is good. Okay. All right, so let's look at in video form what that looks like in terms of upper body and mechanics. So you can see here, nice relaxed hands, shoulders aren't drawn up around up higher. She's looking ahead, chin is parallel to the ground, arms are nice, good arm swing. I'll be running at a pretty good clip just because her arm swing is pretty aggressive, certainly banging on those drums around the hips. Nice and smooth and fluid. Okay, so let's move on to the lower body. And with the lower body, we really want to focus on a couple of things here. One is the feet and the ankles and what that looks like. In terms of what I mean by leaning forward in the ankles, this first bullet point here, not literally that you're leaning forward, but that the momentum that you're going to carry as you impact the ground is going to be right on top of the ankle. So you can see this individual here has a good, nice neutral posture, but you can see a little bit of forward tilt at the ankle where the knee is over top the ankle, versus up here you can almost see that the individual, much of their torso is behind the ankle, so much of their momentum is being broken by the impact of their foot. So now they're having to overcome that braking force here, as opposed to when you land on the midfoot, and we'll get into that in a minute, then you really set yourself up for having that small ankle lean and being able to carry forward that momentum much easier. Okay. In addition, having a good toe off, you can see that individual here. Okay, nice strong toe off versus a weaker toe off here. Ultimately, this strong toe off is going to allow this individual to really draw up the foot closer to their glute. as opposed to this individual who's not going to be able to do that, and that's going to lead to some other issues down the road, and we'll talk about that in our next slide. So I mentioned that this toe off here. So the toe off really stems in part from having good hip extension, and hip extension basically meaning that on the trail leg, the knee comes really far behind the hip like this. So this is nice and open. The hips are nice and open here versus this individual, you can see their knee, okay, behind, not very far behind the hips, okay, and they have a weaker toe off, okay, because of this lack of hip extension here. Okay, so hip extension is important because it leads to a lot of good lower body mechanics. So once you have good hip extension and a good toe off, you see that here, then this heel then can come up around the glute, and that will lead into the next phase of the run, which is allowing yourself to have a higher knee lift and a higher gait in your foot here, versus this individual, not very much hip extension, poor toe off, which leads to a lower foot gait and lower knee gait here. Okay, and so you can see all that depicted in this slide here. Again, good leg extension, poor leg extension leads to a nice high toe off, good strong toe off, weaker toe off here, which then leads to a higher knee lift here and a higher foot carry here, opposite over here. Okay, so it all kind of starts with that leg extension. So that's important. And a lot of drills that I'll go over in the end, we'll talk about this particular element here. Okay, getting good leg extension. Okay, so one of the other elements of lower body running form is the impact forces and how your foot strikes the ground. Really, the goal in running is to be able to strike the ground mid-foot versus heel striking. Mid-foot striking really allows you to carry that momentum over the top of your foot versus landing behind it. This actually creates kind of a braking force and slows your momentum down. So then you have to overcome that and then re-accelerate into the next stride. And when you do that repeated thousands and thousands of times over the course of your run or race, then you're just expending that much more energy. So landing midfoot really allows you to maintain your good upright posture, allows that ankle lean, and allows you to be able to maintain momentum forward versus going through this braking and reacceleration phase that this individual has to do repeatedly throughout the run. Okay, key element to running, and along with that hip extension, a lot of the drills that I'm going to talk about at the end of this presentation, we'll talk about the midfoot strike and being able to practice that and emphasize that. Okay, in terms of stride length and stride rate, certainly the elements of good proper biomechanics allow you to have a longer stride length, which is important in running, but there's no absolute number that you should shoot for. The biggest goal is to be able to improve your biomechanics so that you just increase your particular stride length, and the longer the better. If your stride length is longer, then you'll just run faster just by sheer physics. In terms of stride rate, most runners, regardless of how fast they're running, will be around 180 beats a minute. Not always true. Some are lower, some are faster, but even at faster paces, your rate doesn't change very much, if at all, but your stride length does. Okay? And you can see just in this picture, this individual is going to have a much longer stride length just because they're in flight time versus this individual, very low stride carry and not a very long stride length. Okay, in terms of going back to stride rate, really the goal is to make sure that you have good even left and right leg contribution and that you're consistent in your rate throughout the run. Okay, let's look at that in video form. I used the same one as I did earlier. This individual has really good biomechanics, run biomechanics, and you can see, let's start with the impact on the ground, landing on the forefoot. Okay, foot is right underneath the knee when she impacts the ground. That helps her to carry that forward momentum. No braking forces going on there. And you can see a good strong toe off, high heel into the glute, and then that translates into a high knee carry. And that whole action, once you reach this phase here, okay, this is all mostly passive work. Okay, and that's due to physics. Okay, you don't need to aggressively make this action happen, which is why you want to have a nice high foot carry into the glutes. Okay. All right, so let's talk about drills. Why do we do drills and how are they going to help us to be able to have better biomechanics? Really, they help to break down the elements of your run form for improvement so that you can focus on different aspects of running one element at a time, since there are so many different elements, particularly in the lower body mechanics that you need to focus on. Okay. It also helps you to be able to create images in your mind so that when you do run and you're trying to mentally visualize how you should be running and what that looks like, then you have a picture of that based off of the form or the drills that you're doing. Okay, I'm going to cover 3 drills. First one is a straight leg bound drill. The goal of this drill is really to develop the timing and responsiveness of your foot strike. So a fast foot strike with minimal contact on the ground also helps to enhance the power of the hips, hamstring, and glutes. And really this drill is you're essentially just doing short bouts of it, but it's your knee is essentially straight when you do this, and you're snapping your leg down to contact the ground and back up off the ground very quickly. Okay. Short repetitions, beginners 3 repetitions over 20 meters versus advanced maybe 4 to 6 repetitions over 30 meters. So what does that look like? Okay, let's take a look at this video. So in general, you want to make sure that you have an upright posture. When you're running normal arm action, coming off the balls or at least midfoot, heels never really strike the ground, trying to maintain that straight-legged position. Okay, next one is a high knee bounding drill. Pretty common drill. The focus here is on developing a powerful push-off with greater knee lift, really focusing on that hip extension that I talked about earlier, getting that trail leg, the knee on the trail leg to really be well behind the hips. Trains the body to use that elastic energy that you build up on each stride and develop the timing and responsiveness of your foot strike. Again, going back to the whole idea of minimizing the amount of contact time that your foot has with the ground. In terms of the drill itself, the focus is on bounding up and forward, okay, strongly and quickly off of one leg while lifting the opposite thigh to position parallel to the ground. So it's a bound up and forward. It's not a bound up and it's not a bound forward. Good combination of both. And you want to have a fast, exaggerated stride pattern when you do this. Drive the arms powerfully in the opposite, in opposition to the legs. Good normal arm action, but a little bit more powerful, and you'll see that in the in the video that I'll show you here in a second. Technique tips: good leg extension on the push off. You see here, that's what you're really trying to get in this drill, is that knee to come well behind the hips. Good open hip extension there. Nice high knee drive, and it's and good arm, powerful arm drive. All of this again landing on the balls of your feet, or at least mid-foot strike, not really letting the heels touch the ground. Again, that minimal contact time. Training specifics, beginners usually 3 to 5 repetitions over 15 to 20 meters, and advanced runners at least 5 repetitions over 30 meters. Okay. All right, what does that look like in video form? Let's take a look at this video here. So you can see excessive arm drive to help the individual really perform the drill correctly. Driving off the toes, nice high knee drive, good hip extension. That is the key. Let's take a look at that one more time. Yeah, so that's really what you want to shoot for in that drill is how does that look? How does that feel? Okay, so the last drill I'm going to talk about is butt kickers. Very common drill, done a lot for all skill levels of runners. And the goal with this drill is really to increase leg turnover and improve your hip and knee flexion patterns as you run. That whole idea of the foot into the glutes, this is to help create that pattern in your running. The drill really is to move the lower limb faster with high foot turnover, flexion at the knee into the butt. And I always like to recommend that you jog out of these repetitions just because it's important to carry out that drill and to relax into a normal stride pattern. Okay, so technique tips, you can see that in this video, and similar to other drills, beginners usually 3 to 5 repetitions of 20 meters and advanced 5 repetitions of 30 meters. So you can see the slow motion here, staying on the toes, high heel lift into the butt, and normal arm swing. The key to that is this on the toes and heels into the glutes. Okay, so that for the most part ends the presentation, but I really wanted to end my talk looking at this particular image here. Really kind of shows a person with really poor form, and you can really kind of break down their form based off of all the information that you've learned today, and what that looks like in terms of being able to make changes to form for yourself. Okay, high arm carry, right? Almost looks like they're looking upwards. Almost looks like they're running. You know, they don't really have a neutral posture. Tall posture almost looks like they're leaning backwards because of their head position. In terms of the lower body, really low, weaker toe off here, which means that they're probably not getting a very high heel carry into the glutes. And that's because you can see the knee carry through here is very low to the ground. Their foot carry is also very low to the ground. So that whole cycle is not being done very well here for this individual. So as you look at this presentation, you can pause here and really get a good feel for how to depict what incorrect form really looks like. But in terms of getting more information on running form, I left this video in the presentation because I used the pictures from it quite a bit, and it's on YouTube, and this individual is a biomechanist and does a really good job at breaking down running form, in particular the lower body elements of good running biomechanics. Pretty technical in the language, but definitely worth using as a supplement to the presentation I provided today. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the presentation, and I hope you have a good run, and make sure you work on those drills and incorporate those drills and what you learn from those in your runs in the future.